First, I want to say, of course, welcome, and for all the visitors, you know, really, especially Madame Lagarde, la directrice générale du Fonds monétaire international, who is there, you know, really. And there was also, you know, our good friend, the Representative Royce, that really is here. You know, really. And Representative Royce has a lot of qualities, and really, but he's especially one of the presidents of the French caucus. You know, really. So I really want to acknowledge his presence. And everybody, I've not seen everybody. We have the new apostolic nuncio, who just arrived, and he's French. You know, I see that my Irish colleague is jealous. You know, apostolic nuncio are not always Italian or Irish. You know, we are the elder daughter of the church, my dear Anne. I want again to thank President Obama, of course, but all the American people, the members of the Congress, for their support, for the outpouring of support after the terrorist attack in France. I want to renew France's support and express the sorrow of my fellow citizens in the wake of the tragic attacks in San Bernardino and recently in Orlando. It is at such difficult moments for our democracy that we see who our allies are. The United States and France are united by history, are united by our shared value, and again, we are obliged to be side by side fighting the same enemy. And in fact, we are doing it. We are closely cooperating. Our soldiers are fighting together. The French-American military cooperation is a fact in nearly all the operating theaters in which France is engaged. And I think that it's the only way for us to respond to the barbarous action of ISIL. The cooperation between France and the US is going well beyond security consideration and military intervention. There was the success of the negotiations at the Paris Climate Conference last December, the COP21, and it was only possible thanks to the support from the United States and the unwavering commitment of the US administration. In economy, you know, very often, you know, one of my problems is to really try to guess what is the news of an ambassador in our times, considering that hundreds of thousands, of course, of French and Americans are traveling from France to and to the US, but you have 4,000 subsidiaries of French companies who are operating in the US, and they are actually supporting nearly 600,000 jobs in the US. And in the other way, the US is the leading foreign direct investor and the largest foreign employers in France, providing nearly 500,000 of jobs. And the trade between our two countries is worth more than 1 billion per day. So it's a very, very strong cooperation. Of course, we have the high-level scientific and technical cooperation. Innovation is central to our two countries' culture. I'm a bit sorry for the child, you know, really, that he has to suffer so young an ambassador speech. You know, really, it's a barbarous treatment. You know, really, and really, he will never want to become a diplomat. You know, really, I'm sure after that. And you know, and an example of this technical cooperation is that yesterday we have just reached an agreement between Sanofi Pasteur, you know, really the Sanofi Group's vaccine branch, and the Walter Reed Army Institute of Research, which is administered by the US Defense Department, to jointly develop a Zika vaccine. You know, really. I think their research in that area has already shown promising results. So we do hope that they will really be able to develop the vaccine pretty quickly. So, you know, history has shown that peace and democracy cannot be taken for granted. Our two countries, the United States and France, have fought hard and continue to fight today to ensure peace, justice, and prosperity. But we are doing it also with all our allies, and as you may know, in these days, our allies at NATO, there will be the NATO summit in Warsaw. But I want to say also a word about the United Nations, about the European Union. You know, European Union is the most successful peace endeavor since 1945. You may really, in a sense, for the Americans, it's difficult to realize, but our continent has been devastated by 2 world wars, which were physical and moral disasters. My grandfather died fighting the Germans. My great-grandfather died fighting the Germans. And we have decided, we the European people, we have decided that never again. We have decided that we should we should demonstrate to the world. And we should also build for our children and grandchildren, you know, a union founded on the values, on our common values, and of democracies. It's not easy. As you know, in your country also, we are facing this outburst of populism. It doesn't mean that these people are wrong. We have to respond to what they are expressing. But in a sense, I want to express my extreme sadness, personal sadness for Brexit. I can't imagine Europe without the European endeavor without our British friends. It's an incredible failure for the European Union. But also I want to express our determination, first of course to build very intimate, friendly relations with the UK. You know, it's obvious, you know, really, that we'll work together. But as for the remaining members of the European Union, we have really ahead of us a very tough task. Very exciting also, but very tough. We have to respond to the discontent of our citizens. We have to show that the European Union is still a dream for our children and for our grandchildren. I know that it sounds a bit dramatic or a bit emphatic, but unfortunately we know that history is tragic. And if we don't succeed to keep the European Union alive, I don't know what will happen in Europe in 20 and in 30 years. So we need you, we need your support, our American friends, because the European Union is also, in a sense, you know, very often I said there are 2 sponsors for the European Union in the 50s. It was the President of the United States and the Pope, Monsieur le Nonce Apostolique. You know, really, because all the founders of the European Union were devout Catholics, and it's not by chance. So we have built this European Union. We have to defend it now that it's endangered. And we do believe that the Americans have a role to play. So in face of all these major challenges and threats, we have to work more than ever together. And I'm supposed to quote Thomas Jefferson, which is always good in a speech. You know, really, I always suspect that the quotations are invented because you are not going to check to check actually. So Thomas Jefferson is supposed to have said, "The price of liberty is eternal vigilance," which is quite a platitude, but said by Thomas Jefferson, it's a bit different. So thank you again for being here today. Vive les États-Unis, vive la France, vive l'amitié franco-américaine, et maintenant les hymnes nationaux.
Allons enfants de la patrie, le jour de gloire est arrivé. Contre nous de la tyrannie, l'étendard sanglant élevé, l'étendard sanglant élevé. Entendez-vous dans nos campagnes mugir ces féroces soldats? Ils viennent jusque dans nos bras, égorger vos fils et vos compagnes. Aux armes citoyens, formez vos bataillons. Marchons, marchons, grâce à lui, Sillon. Aux hommes citoyens, formez vos bataillons. Marchons, marchons, oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we walked.